Well, hello everyone. I'm so glad I'm back. I've just got in. This is day 3 of my holiday. Day 4, if you count the day that I drove. But it was my third and final day of going about and doing things. Although I will try and fit some stuff in on my way home tomorrow. I've just had an absolute nightmare driving through Newcastle City. I told you I wasn't good at driving around cities. I've just come back from Tynemouth on the sea. Had a really nice day, but yeah, driving back was a nightmare. On the way there, I didn't have to drive through the city very much because there was like a road that kind of took you around the outskirts of the main city, and then you were just straight onto a dual carriageway that basically just goes in a straight line all the way to the coast, out of the city. It's just a 50-mile-an-hour dual carriageway, and it just goes straight out of the city all the way. No turns or anything, so nice and easy. Don't have to go in the city. For some reason, when I came back, my sat-nav decided to take me on a little tour de Newcastle. So it told me to take this exit, and I was like, why is it taking me off here? Because I didn't go this way, and I thought, oh, I'm just going to follow it because I don't know the area, so it's not like I can make a judgment call myself, so I'm going to have to just trust the sat-nav, because it's not like I can say, no, I'm just going to ignore you and do my own thing, because I don't know what I'm doing. So I went off the exit that it told me to, and then it took me round the city, and it was full of 3, 4, 5 lanes, one-way systems, like noodle bloody roads. Like, it was like Spaghetti Junction. There were elevated roads up here, and then roads down there, and then roads crossing over each other like bridges. And oh my god, it was I just, no, I can't cope with it. I was so panicked. And it was worse because it was getting dark. By the time I headed back to, the sun was like gone down already when I left Tynemouth, and by the time I hit the city centre, it was pretty much dark. Just tiny little bit of light left. And that just made it worse. And I got to this section where there was a roundabout, and the sat-nav said to me, go right round the roundabout. So I'm going right round it, and then suddenly it told me take the exit, but suddenly it went from 2 lanes and split into 3 lanes, and it happened so fast that you don't have time to make the decision, because then there's people behind you already in that lane, so you can't pull over into it. So I had to go all the way round, and I ended up back where I was, and I was like, I recognise this bit, I'm round by this barrier again. So I had to go around for a second time. And then the second time, I missed the exit, took the wrong one, and then ended up going all the way on that road out to Tynemouth again. And I was like, oh my god. So it told me to make a U-turn at the nearest possible moment. So then I had to turn around, come all the way back into the city centre again, got to that same roundabout, and it was like 3rd time lucky. And this time, instead of telling me to go right, which I had done the first 2 times, it told me to go left. And I was like, so why did you tell me to go right the first couple of times? Which is why I kept making the mistakes. And then suddenly it was like, take the left. And I'm like, Lord, give me patience. So anyway, I'm back. But yeah, I don't do city driving at all. I hate it. I like nice, simple roads. Thank you very much. Was brought up in a village, and before that, a very small market town. So I am not used to lots of, and like the people everywhere, and the lights, and no, too much for me. Very overwhelming, don't like it. I could not live in a city. I would hate it. I think I'd cry every day. Too many people, too many lights, too much noise. No. So I've just sat down, and I'm going to try and chill now. It was a good day today. I went to the Discovery Museum this morning. That was a 10-minute walk from the hotel, so that was nice because it was a nice sunny day, and it meant that I didn't actually have to do much hustling and bustling, because it was kind of on the outskirts, so I could like avoid the heart of the city. The museum itself was amazing. It's an old cooperative wholesale society building, and it's massive. There's like 5 floors, but only 3 of them have got things open for the public. The other 2 are like staff levels. But it's just really, really good. They had like history of Newcastle. They had like through the ages sections, so it goes right back from sort of well, they had like axe heads and spears and things like that were found, and then they had Roman times and then medieval times and all the way through to the Victorian era and then the World Wars and right up until now. So lots on show. They also had a science bit, which it's a lot to walk around, and towards the end I was walking around for a couple of hours, and towards the end I was absolutely dying to sit down, and I was starting to lose a little bit of interest, to be honest, because there's only so many things you can like look at, and I was getting hungry because it was lunchtime, so I thought I'm gonna head back in a minute. But yeah, the science bit, it had some interesting things, but it's stuff that I've done before years ago when I was a kid, and I wasn't really interested in a lot of it. There was like combustion machines and, you know, a machine that shows you how gravity works, and it's like pull this and you'll, you know, see gravity working. And there was a couple of fun things that I did do, which was you had to shine a beam of light, which was representing the sun, and it was like really hot, and you aim it at a solar panel up on the ceiling, because it's like this mirror reflecting thing, and you had to kind of aim it precisely onto this solar panel, and it got an airplane to go round. And there was a sign saying, obviously, we're not anywhere near yet being able to power airplanes by solar, but it shows you in principle that it works. So that was quite cool. And yeah, there was another machine that blew air, and it was supposed to be representing how strong, something to do with wind turbines or something, and how strong they can get to, and I don't know. Anyway, there was these foam cubes that you could like throw into the wind, and then like they were just hovering there. So it's all that kind of thing. But yeah, I then walked back to the hotel, which was all uphill. It was fine going down there, and then on the way back it was uphill, and I was struggling. I was so out of breath when I got back, so I had a quick 10-minute sit down and a quick drink in my room, and then I headed to Tynemouth, which is only about 20 minutes in the car. So that's a good thing, I suppose, if you do live in Newcastle City and you fancy a trip to the beach. It's like literally 20 minutes. It's such a weird contrast to have this big city and then 10 minutes across country you're at the coast. But yeah, Tynemouth was lovely, really, really nice. I was ever so impressed with it. Beautiful beach. But then the town itself is up high on the cliffs, so there's lots of like stairs and pathways down the dunes onto the beach, and beautiful, well kept promenades, and those like cycleways, and I went to the aquarium. I haven't been to an aquarium in years, and it was really nice. They even had some little marmoset monkeys in there. I don't know what they were doing in an aquarium, but they had a really nice big enclosure, and I saw them being fed. And they fed the sea lions. I watched not the sea lions, the seals, sorry. I watched the seals getting fed, and they did some tricks. But they had a nice big tank, to be fair, and I was reading up about, because they had some plaques with their names and how old they are and where they've come from and stuff, and some of them have come from other captivity places, but basically all of them, it's only a very small aquarium, so I think there's four of them there, and they all appear to have come from other captivity places, so it's not like they're ones from the wild or anything. I think they've only ever known captivity, which in a way is sad, but also I suppose that's better than them having been in the wild and then put in captivity. That would be worse. But, you know, they have a lot of stimulation, lots of toys. Their tank was huge, and they had loads of different like levels in it, because they tried to make the tank replicate reefs, and underneath, and there was like a big glass, so that you could go right up and see them underwater. And yeah, there was all these sort of like underwater cavern bits that they could go in. So I mean, I was quite impressed with it. For a small aquarium, I think they've they've done the best they can for them in terms of space. The only other animal that I felt sorry for was they had an octopus in there, and he was called Otto, and or say he, it was actually a she. Otto. I was asking about her. She's really, really clever as octopus, octopi. Is it octopi or octopus if it's one? I can't remember. They're very, very clever animals, and I could see that she did have some toys in the tank, and the remains of some razor clams inside. It was like, you know how like you stimulate dogs and cats' attention for amusement by giving them sort of these puzzle balls with and put treats inside. It was that kind of concept, but for the octopus. So they'd put razor clams inside this ball, but the ball's got holes in it, and so she's got to try and get the the razor clams out with her tentacles through the holes in the ball. So, and I was talking to the lady, and she said that they put different enrichment things in her tank every day, so she's always got something different to do. But I felt a bit sorry for her because she was in a really tiny tank, and there were small fish in there that in other tanks that had loads of space, and I just don't understand why. I mean, she was a big octopus as well. She was quite big, and she was in one of the smaller tanks, and yet there were other fish that were in huge tanks that were tiny. So I don't understand why they can't put her in a bigger one. So yeah, I did feel a bit sorry for her because they're so clever, and she's just in this tiny. I mean, it was deep, but it didn't have a lot of width to it or a lot of depth, and there was only one small place at the back where she could hide, which she did go into after a while, but I filmed her a few times because she was just so fascinating. And I stuck around for a little bit. She was staring at me, and I stuck around for a little bit, and I kept putting my hand to the tank, and I kept putting it in different places. And then eventually she came forward, and she started putting her tentacles where my hand was. And yeah, it really made my day, that did. And then I walked to Tynemouth Priory remains. They've got like an old priory ruin right on the cliff down by the beach, and I was a bit pushed for time because by the time I did the museum, I had a bit of a later start this morning because my God, did I ache when I got up this morning. I was in agony. I knew I would be. So I decided to just have a bit of a lazier morning, and then I did the museum, and by the time I came back and got my car, drove to Tynemouth, it was, I think I arrived at about 2:20. So it was an either or situation. It was like either do the priory or do the aquarium, and I did the aquarium because I thought it's less steps. it's a small aquarium, and I thought, you know what, I haven't been to one in years, and I imagine it would be quite soothing because you're just looking at all this lovely, water and these lovely floating animals, and I thought that would just be nice and calming, and because I've done a lot over the last few days, and I already have seen, a priory when I was at Lindisfarne, and obviously yesterday I did a couple of manor houses, and well, like a castle and a manor house. So I thought I'd rather do something different. So I'm glad I did the aquarium because, yeah, seeing the animals did really calm me down, and it was like quite stress relieving. It was nice. And then I thought, do you know what, I can probably see the priory from the main road anyway. I mean, obviously you won't be able to go like right up to it or in it, but at the end of the day, I had looked up a picture of it in advance, and it's not the best preserved priory. There's not many walls left of it standing. Most of it is quite badly ruined. And I thought, because it's English heritage, I bet they'll charge an arm and a leg to go in there. I mean, I've done Whitby Abbey, which is where Bram Stoker did his famous Dracula story from. Was where he got the inspiration from, I think. And I've done Whitby Abbey, and that's quite impressive because there's quite a lot of it left. But this one was quite small scale, and as I say, it was in quite a bad state. And I thought, I bet they would have charged anything between like £12 and £18 probably. And Whitby Abbey was, I think Whitby Abbey was £16. So yeah, I'm glad I didn't do that, because I was still able to see it from the road, and you get enough of an idea of it, you know, without actually going in it. So yeah, I finished off by walking along the little high street there, which is very oldie woldy, lots of original sort of early, like late Regency and early Victorian buildings. Yeah, then I decided to have dinner. Had fish and chips tonight, and it was bloody lovely. Really, really nice. They had like an eat-in, they do eat-in or take-away, but they did an eat-in area, and it reminded me of those old-fashioned cafes that you had from like the 70s and 80s. They still had those, it's like those sets of four, like there's tables that seat four people, but the plastic chairs are kind of, it's an all-in-one piece, if that makes sense. So you have the table, and then the four plastic seats are all attached by a bar underneath to the table, so it's like all one unit. Those are so old-fashioned, but it was strangely sweet as well, because it brings back a bit of nostalgia. So, and for some reason it smelled of vintage soap in there. Do not ask me why. I'm sure they're not cooking the the fish in soap, but that's what it smelled like to me for some weird reason. I walked in and I was like, it's, you know, like when I say vintage soap, I mean that sort of like either Pears soap or Wright's coal tar soap, that kind of smell. Real vintage soap. It's a nice smell, but such a weird thing to smell in a fish and chip shop. Perhaps I'm having a stroke. I don't know. But yeah, it was really nice. And I then took a walk back to the car, but I don't know how many steps I've done today. Probably quite a lot when I take into account the museum, walking around that this morning, and then walking around Tynemouth as well. So yeah, I'm gonna have a chill. And I've got back a little bit earlier this evening, so I'm gonna stick the telly on. I'll see what's on. Probably be a film or something that I can watch, and if not, I shall go on my iPad and read or something, and then get an early night, because tomorrow I've got to pack and go. Plan for tomorrow on the way home, I want to go and see the Lady of the North, which I can actually see from my hotel car park, because Newcastle is all very hilly, and the Lady on the North is on a hill, like in the distance, and where my hotel is, I'm up on like a hill on the other side of the city, so from here I can see across and I can see it in the distance. And I want to go see that before I go. And then I'm going to head to Seaham, which is another seaside town, but everything's going to be south from here now, because I need to head home. So I'm going south to Seaham, where they've famously got lots of glass on the beach. I'm not going to be able to hunt around too much because I can't really bend down with my back, but what I might do is sit on the sand or the pebbles. It's a very pebbly beach, and I'm just going to sit and then just have a little scramble around in my immediate vicinity, and then maybe get up, move to another bit, sit down, have another scramble around. I'll do it like that, because I can't keep bending down and standing up. But there's loads of sea glass there apparently, because it's left over from the bottle making industry that was there in the Victorian period, and they used to just throw away loads of the waste glass from the factories into the sea. And then obviously over the last 100 years, these little pieces of glass have all broken up, and they've gotten all battered, and they've smoothed off by the sea. So you end up with these beautiful little tiny pieces of sea glass in all different colours. You're really lucky if you get like a blue coloured one, because they're from the old poison bottles, that beautiful cobalt blue. And there's lots of greens, and they're so pretty when they're all smooth. So my mum's collected quite a lot of it, and she put it in a little jar and filled it with water, and she's got it on her bathroom window. So I might see if I can pick up a few bits. And then from there, I want to go to Saltburn by the Sea, which is where David Coverdale is from, who is the lead singer of Whitesnake. and they've got a tram car there that takes you from the beach up the hillside. So I want to do that, and then I'll have to see how I am for time, because by the time I've done the Lady of the North, or Angel of the North, I think she's called, yeah, Angel of the North, and then go to Seaham, and then go to Saltburn, I think that'll probably be enough. I've got to drive home. The only thing with doing these things tomorrow is that by sticking to the coastline, the drive back home is going to be a little bit more rural and will take a bit longer. Whereas because Newcastle's a little bit more inland, I took the A1 to get here, which is literally you go from Newcastle straight onto the A1, and it just takes you in a straight line down, and you just stay on it for miles and miles and miles and miles and miles, just basically because I'm about, I think it's like, was it 2.5 hours? I think I live about 2.5 hours away from Newcastle. But yeah, if I take the A1, it's just a nice straight line and it's a lot quicker. But if I stick to the coastline and then go down like this, visiting different places, it's going to take me a lot longer. So when I've finished at Saltburn, I'll see if there's a way that I can drive back across country, catch up with the A1 and then head down, or whether it's worth me just sticking to the coastline route, I don't know until I have a look at the map. Let's see what's best to do, but there we go. Anyway, that's me done for this evening. I'm going to rest up now, and I didn't get anything today. I picked up a limpet shell, which was an unusual one. It was black with a little bit of white on the rim, which is quite an unusual colour, so I picked that up off the beach. I did get another magnet. I got a magnet of the Angel of the North from the Discovery Museum, but it's over at the end of my bed and I can't be bothered to get it. But you probably all know what it looks like anyway. So yeah, I'm going to chill out now because I am literally falling asleep, and I'll probably do another video now when I'm back home. I might post some videos of some of the footage whilst I've been out and about, perhaps some from the aquarium and some from the castle. Did I get any footage from the castle? I think so. Anyway, I'll see what I've got and I'll post some. So I'll speak to you soon, guys. Take care. Bye.